Halloweentown, Phantom of the Megaplex. Who's gonna win? Ladies and gentlemen, non-binary, gender fluid, and everybody else in between, welcome to Box Office Battles. A show where we pit two similar movies together, head-to-head, one-on-one, baby, and see who comes out on top. Today's episode, Halloween Disney Channel original movies, Halloweentown versus Phantom of the Megaplex, baby. Let's get into it. In this fight, we have 3 rounds. The first round is plot. We're going to analyze the catalyst of the story and see how it flows. The second round is of the players, who makes up the story and who the villains are. And the final bloody round is of audience reception, box office numbers, and legacy. A great way to end the fight. And stay tuned. I even asked some of my creative friends what they think of both movies. All right, Joey C, let's roll this tape. Let's get rocking and rolling. Halloweentown released in 1998. Phantom of the Megaplex released 2 years later in 2000. The two movies are both Disney Channel original movies, or DCOMs for short. After the Disney executives were impressed with the performance of the 1997 Disney movie Under Wraps, they greenlit more Halloween movies. An honorable mention going to Don't Look Under the Bed, my personal favorite Disney Channel original movie. Being two movies for kids, both follow a group of kids getting into some spooky happenings. One happens in a supernatural world, and the other happens in a movie theater. Let's find out what spooky things happen in each installment. Starting with Halloweentown, it's probably the most famous Disney Channel original movie, let alone a Halloween one. The plot is as followed. We see a widow by the name of Gwen, who is refusing to let her 3 kids go out trick-or-treating on Halloween, which is just absolutely cruel if you ask me. Grandma shows up and the kids couldn't be happier. This is where we find out Gwen and Grandma Aggie are secretly witches, but Gwen is determined to live a normal life as a human instead, which Grandma doesn't agree with. Before she goes back home, Grandma reads a kid's story called Halloweentown, which is a magical place where witches, vampires, and monsters live. Sophie, the youngest, points out that the witch in the book resembles Marnie, the 13-year-old and oldest of the bunch. Mom walks in and stops all this magic talk, and Mom and Grandma get into an argument downstairs, and Marnie eavesdrops. Gwen gets mad at Grandma for trying to encourage Halloween and magic, and reiterates that the kids must never know about their powers, and they are going to stay human. Aggie says that she wants to train Marnie as the witch that she is destined to be, as she will lose her powers if she doesn't get trained before her 13th birthday. Aggie then asks her daughter Gwen to help her as something is going terribly wrong in Halloweentown. The citizens are disappearing. Of course, Gwen says no, and Grandma leaves to teleport back to Halloweentown. Marnie and Dylan, the younger brother, decide to follow Grandma onto the magic bus. So they sneak out of the house and hop on the bus. Not sure how you would sneak onto a bus without the bus driver seeing you, knowing that you're human, but moving on. When they arrive at Halloweentown, they find out that Sophie followed them too, and the 3 begin looking for Grandma. They are approached by Calabar, the mayor of Halloweentown, who gets them a cab driven by a skeleton to Grandma's house. Come to find out, Grandma's been living in a mansion for the last 400 years, and this is a big shock to the kids. I mean, I would be shocked if my Nana was living in a mansion for the last 400 years too. Grandma surprisingly is very happy to see them, and not at all concerned that the kids snuck their way against their mother's wishes. She also decides to not bring them home immediately, which is a pretty big red flag for old Granny here. To go against her daughter's wishes even more, she decides to start Marnie's witch training. But first, she must take care of the bad thing that's happening in Halloweentown first. She needs to light this talisman with a spell, but she needs some ingredients first. While the bunch are in town looking for ingredients, Mom finds out that the kids are gone and instantly teleports to Halloweentown. That's pretty fast traveling if you ask me. She gathers up the kids and tries to get a bus back to the real world. Come to find out the buses are delayed, so she goes to the mayor to get another bus ride home. Not sure how effective that is, but regardless. Come to find out she used to date the mayor, so she and Calabar have a mini reunion. Calabar leaves on business, and meanwhile, Grandma is investigating an abandoned movie theater. Grandma then gets confronted by a hooded demon and finds all the missing citizens sitting in the theater. The demon demands the talisman, but Grandma refuses. Gwen and the kids then rush into the theater just in time. I'm not sure how they found out that Grandma was in the theater or that she was in trouble in the theater, but we're moving on. The demon then freezes Mom and Grandma, and the kids run out in fear. The kids decide to grab the necessary ingredients to power the talisman: the hair of a werewolf, sweat of a ghost, and a vampire fang. They then realize that they need to place the talisman in the large jack-o'-lantern in the middle of town to defeat the demon. When they go to install the talisman, the demon then reveals that he is Calabar the mayor. I know, we're all shocked. After a brief and nail-biting couple of minutes, Marnie drops the talisman into the jack-o'-lantern, which weakens Calabar enough for the people to unfreeze, including Grandma and Mom. Using their combined magic of the entire family, even Dylan, they use a spell to defeat Calabar. And the movie ends off with Marnie receiving the witch training that she was destined to have. Wow, what a spooky little kid story, man. Let's move on to Phantom of the Megaplex and see what kind of crazy stuff happens there. We see 17-year-old Pete Riley, who is an assistant manager at the Megaplex. Impressive job for such a young age. The guy is a hustler. Rumor has it that the Megaplex is haunted by a phantom, who was someone who was trapped inside the old movie theater that was demolished to build the Megaplex. Here we are introduced to all the different employees of the Megaplex, including the manager, Sean, and a very, very old man named Movie Mason, who doesn't work there, he just loves movies, so he works there for free every day. Retirement is kind of goofy, folks. Everyone is working to prepare the theater for a full-blown Hollywood movie premiere, and the owner of the theater, Mr. Niedermeyer, is to be one of the guests. After this, we learn that Pete's mom is going on a date with her boyfriend. So Pete's younger sister and brother are going to be at the movie theater tonight. So Pete will have to keep an eye out on them. Pete dumps them into a movie to get back to work at the premiere, and his sister, Karen, ditches her younger brother, Brian, to see a horror movie with her friends. Throughout the night, problems start popping up all over the Megaplex. Each movie begins to suffer mishaps, which Karen and Brian discover are related to the movies that's showing. For example, Cyclone Summer, a giant fan gets moved to the front of the theater and starts blowing audiences literally out of their seats. It's very cheesy, but it's a kid's movie. What can you do? Pete, Karen, and Brian work together and find out that all the problems happening the night of the premiere are caused by the infamous Phantom. This is where the plot gets kinda goofy, so just hang in there. Initially, the kids think the Phantom is the old guy, Movie Mason, because he got yelled at by the manager, all because it was an insurance risk having non-employees work that night, which just sounds reasonable to me. The kids sneak into the basement and find Movie Mason's secret base, where he apparently has been living. But they realize that Mason is not the Phantom, he's just a sweet old man. The premiere starts up, and the main movie is spoiled by giant inflatable monsters in the theater. Again, it's very cheesy, but what can you do? Pete is able to get a sword and starts deflating the inflatables and saves the audience. The Phantom shows up and starts battling with Pete. Pete eventually rips the mask off, and it's revealed to be the manager, Sean. Sean, of course, gets fired and banned from the theater. Come to find out, Sean did all of this because he was so sick of the owner, Mr. Niedermeyer, not noticing him, and he wanted the boss to recognize him for once. So he became the Phantom. Yeah, the reasoning is kind of lame, but as a kid, I loved it. After all of this, Mr. Niedermeyer, the owner, offers Pete the senior manager position, which is crazy because he's 17 years old. I'm pretty sure by law you have to be 18 to be a manager somewhere, but I could be wrong. I have no idea. Pete turns down the job because he realizes that he wants to spend more time with friends and family instead of working all the time. Smart kid, way ahead of his time. And that wraps up Phantom of the Megaplex. It's a much more simple story than Halloweentown, but it's still a fun ride nonetheless. All right, let's compare the two stories and see who won round one. Of course, like in all episodes, comparing the two stories is tough, because in some ways they are very similar, but in other ways they are very different types of stories. On one hand, in Halloweentown, we see a magical world with actual monsters. On the other hand, we see a world where things seem to be magical with actual demons, but it turns out to be a grumpy old manager. In terms of simplicity, Phantom of the Megaplex is the top dog. But in terms of substance, Halloweentown is the winner. All that being said, I think the winner of round one has to be Halloweentown, because the story is richer. It has more substance in it. Yeah, Halloweentown may be cheesy at times, but there are some situations in Phantom of the Megaplex that are real cheesy. Good Lord. 1 point to Halloweentown. Fantastic. Before we get into round 2, let's take a break and hear from our sponsors. Well, folks, I hope you're enjoying this episode of Box Office Battles. I greatly appreciate you watching. Thank you for almost 4,000 subscribers. You can support the channel by hitting the subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate that. If you want to support the channel more, you can go to patreon.com/officialjoeyc for all your exclusive Joey C needs. Lots of behind-the-scenes videos, lots of extra content, exclusive live streams, exclusive movie reviews. You could also become a YouTube channel member. And if you don't want to do any of that, that's okay too, man. You're still great. All right, Joey C, roll the tape. Back to Box Office Battles, baby. Starting out, let's discuss the players of Halloweentown. Playing the main character, Marnie, we see Kimberly J. Brown, who's mostly known for her performances in the 3 Halloweentown movies. A crazy fact that I found out while researching this video is that Kimberly J. Brown is actually dating her nemesis, her main enemy in Halloweentown 2, Calabar's Revenge, Daniel Counts. That's wild. Apparently, they met up to do like a reunion thing, and then they started dating, and now they're married. Good Lord. Playing Sophie, we have Emily Roski. She's known for literally just Halloweentown and never pursued acting. She's enjoying a nice private life as a mom. Good for her. Of course, playing Grandma Aggie, we have the very legendary, very talented Debbie Reynolds. Her Hollywood career lasted almost 70 years, man. She's a legend. Rest in peace. The villain of the movie Calabar is played by Robin Thomas, who's known for mostly TV spots, but has held steady work in Hollywood since 1982. Moving on to Phantom of the Megaplex, playing the Big Cheese Pete, we have Taylor Handley, who's mostly known for playing Dean in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning. Yikes. He may not be known for his movies, but he's been working steadily in TV since 1999, so he's doing just fine. Playing Karen, the younger sister, we have Caitlin Watch. She doesn't act anymore, but she did play Penny in the 2003 absolute classic direct-to-video movie, Inspector Gadget 2. Good Lord, we should cover that movie sometime. By God. Playing the manager and the Phantom, Sean McGibbon, we have Rich Hutchman, who hasn't done anything crazy besides taking over a movie theater, I suppose. He's been a TV actor based in LA for the last 25 years, so he seems to be doing just fine. And then, playing Movie Mason, we have the legendary Mickey Rooney. He's had a Hollywood career that's lasted nearly 9 decades. That's 90 years. Nearly. Good Lord. And on top of that, he was the last surviving Hollywood actor from the silent era. Wow. Goddamn, the guy's a legend. Mickey Rooney in a Disney Channel original movie. Taking a look at both movies, we have to consider a lot for this round. Who the characters are, how they vibe with each other, and so on. Now, the characters of Halloweentown vibe far better than the cast of Phantom of the Megaplex. I feel like the actors in Halloweentown were far better actors in general than Phantom of the Megaplex. The actors in the latter were pretty goofy and cheesy. Halloweentown acting feels like full Hollywood, where in Phantom of the Megaplex, you can tell it's a TV movie. But with that being said, I think the winner of round 2, the players, has to go to Phantom of the Megaplex, dude. Mickey Rooney. He's a goddamn golden age of Hollywood actor in a Disney Channel original movie, a TV movie, no less. What more can I say? That's probably controversial, but that fact is crazy. Good Lord. 1 to Halloweentown and 1 to Phantom of the Megaplex. Let's move on. Going into the third and final round of this brutal, bloody battle, it's 1-1, baby. 1 to Phantom of the Megaplex and 1 to Halloweentown. Let's get into audience reception, box office numbers, and legacy. Halloweentown came out on October 17th, 1998 on Disney Channel, so there's no box office numbers for this one, but it did have a $4 million budget, and it was considered enough of a financial success to warrant 3 other sequels, so that's gotta say something. It's also considered one of the best DCOMs ever made, and the absolute best Halloween one by the public. Taking a look at the Rotten Tomatoes score, we see an 83% on the tomato meter, which is pretty fresh, and a 72% on the popcorn meter, which was formerly the audience score. Moving on to Phantom of the Megaplex, it was released on November 10th, 2000 on Disney Channel. So again, there's no box office numbers or any sort of financial results whatsoever for this movie. I can't even find any sort of reception for this movie or how this movie performed in general. I will say though, every Halloween in the early 2000s, I watched this movie on Disney Channel. So that says something. Taking a look at the Rotten Tomatoes score, we don't even have a score on the tomato meter. That's pretty sad. There's one single review on the tomato meter, and it is rated fresh, but there's only one. Taking a look at the popcorn meter, we have a 57%, which is pretty sad, actually. I think this is pretty cut and dry here. I enjoy both movies, but it's no secret that the internet loves Halloweentown. But there is a pretty large number of people who also remember and love Phantom of the Megaplex. So both movies have a great legacy, especially around Halloweentown on social media. Both movies are amazingly nostalgic, and they bring me back to simpler times. And a lot of people agree with me, like my fellow creators. Let's take a break and hear from my fellow creators on what they think of both movies and who they think win. All right, roll the tape.
Joey C. Joey C. Yes, I made it onto the channel.
What's going on, everybody? We are back to talk about two more movies sent over to me from the official Joey C.
Halloweentown versus Phantom of the Megaplex. Two classic Disney films, but which one is better?
I have to admit up front, I never saw Halloweentown or Phantom of the Megaplex as a kid, so I have no nostalgia attached to either of these movies. And I think that does not do these movies a lot of favors. But I tried to be as charitable as possible and put myself in the shoes of my childhood self and experience them as best as I could.
You couldn't have made this a harder question, Joey C.
I was 8 and 10 at the time when these movies came out, so I probably saw them then, thought they were fine.
While Phantom of the Megaplex has a fantastic setting with the movie theater aesthetic, I just have to say Halloweentown beats it in all the other categories.
Phantom doesn't get the love it deserves. This is a fun little movie. This is something that I had a lot more enjoyment with. You know, this whole movie theater, you know, this big premiere of movie theater. This kid is very much into his job. He loves it, but things are going wrong all over the place. There is a Phantom.
Halloweentown. So what did I think of this movie? I found it hard to immerse myself in the story because there really wasn't much of one until the last probably 20 minutes when the mom and grandma get put under a spell. That's when the kids are in a race against the clock to save them.
So I grew up watching both of these movies every single year. And then when they were launched on demand, that's when you can finally re-watch them. So that was such a gift when I finally saw that. And then Halloweentown was released on a DVD in Target. And both of the movies were on there, or maybe all three. I can't remember. I think all three. Yes. And then I have the fourth one separately. Anywho, I digress.
The story of Halloweentown is just a lot more intriguing than Phantom at the Megaplex, and it gets you invested a lot easier.
And the problem is that by this point in my life, I've heard about Halloweentown so much, I really built it up in my head to be this amazing place. It was conjuring images in my mind of things like Nightmare Before Christmas. But of course, this is a made-for-TV Disney movie. When I finally saw Halloweentown after about 20 years of hearing about it, I find out it's just like any other town, except it's got a big jack-o'-lantern in the town square, and everyone's dressed in Halloween costumes.
Growing up, Phantom of the Megaplex was my all-time favorite Disney Channel original movie because it was about movies, and I love movies, and it was such a love letter written to cinema, and I was obsessed.
You know, it is that typical Disney Channel movie, but it's got Mickey Rooney in it, and to be honest, Mickey Rooney is always fun to see on film.
Now, Phantom of the Megaplex. This movie did have a story right from the beginning. They need to host this premiere, everything has to go off without a hitch, but things just won't stop going wrong. Who is causing all of these problems? So there is a story. The problem is that it's the story of a sitcom episode, enough to sustain maybe 20 minutes, but they drag it on for almost an hour and a half. It gets really boring and repetitive by the end. Just like Debbie Reynolds in Halloweentown, you do have Mickey Rooney here, which adds some charm. But in the end, it was so disappointing that the Phantom is just a guy in a costume.
The costumes, however, when the kids get to Halloweentown are the real standout for me.
A TV movie from the 90s, the effects are I think really good.
I really love monsters, and seeing what they did with the monsters in Halloweentown, everyone looks fantastic.
If you're making a Halloween movie, let your imagination run wild. Embrace the supernatural. Halloweentown did that. This movie did not.
Now, over the years, have I rewatched that one every single year? Yes, but not as much as Halloweentown, baby. That's right.
Halloweentown is very, it kind of like turns it down to like, this is for kids, like straight up. Like at least Phantom is for kids, but also I think good for teenagers. This is very, very kid-centric.
Also, it was pretty obvious who the Phantom was because the manager's story of just a guy snuck up on me and just tied me up doesn't add up at all. You've got to subdue a person or knock them out or something to tie them up. Otherwise, we're meant to believe, you know what? I actually do believe he probably would just stand there and let somebody tie him up like that. And in fact, when we see the Phantom in action later on, he does throw a sack over those 3 kids. And again, he ties them up and they just stand there and let him do it. I didn't buy it at all. It was very frustrating.
And Halloweentown was just a joy to be in and to see kind of how this weird world works.
I really do believe Halloweentown is the better movie, even though both have such a special place in my heart.
I gotta go with Phantom, man. It's just, I think, a more rewatchable movie. I think they're both fun for kids.
I watched Halloweentown so much more, and just like on repeat and all of them. And they spawned over 4 films. Like, you can't get better than that. And it's just so original and different. I love it so much. And Aggie has always reminded me of my mom. So that's just a special movie that I could go to just to remind me of my mom, and who also taught me that being normal is vastly overrated.
So the 2 movies, in a lot of respects, they kind of tie. Neither one has much of a story. Halloweentown, there's no real stakes until the way end. Phantom of the Megaplex has a story, but definitely not enough to sustain almost 90 minutes. So in the end, what's the tiebreaker? Halloweentown. It's got a little bit of childlike wonder. It's got the Halloween imagery. And even if you didn't see the movie as a kid, it still somehow manages to rekindle some of that old Halloween love, and made me feel a little nostalgic anyway.
While Phantom at the Megaplex does have its high moments, and sometimes the cast in that movie performs way better than the cast of Halloweentown, overall, I gotta give it to Halloweentown.
But also, both movies, what's great about them is that they both mention that the movies can teach us about life. And I think that's so special. That's why we love our movies.
So in the end, this is shocking, I know. Halloweentown is the winner.
I don't know if I'll ever see them again, but I think if I were to choose either one to go back to, Phantom was the one to go with for me.
My choice is Halloweentown, but that doesn't mean I love Phantom of the Megaplex because I love it so much.
But I'm interested to see what everybody else has to say. And Joey, as always, thank you so much for having me be a part of this, because it's always a great time. So be good. Have a great day.
Though I can't say I'll be rushing to watch the sequels. I don't know how many of them there are. I guess unless, Joey, you're doing another box office battle. But when did you say you were doing that again? I think I might have something that week. I don't know if I'm going to be able to help out with that one. So anyway, thanks again for inviting me to this video, Joey, and happy Halloween.
All right, thanks, Joey C, and happy Halloween.
With all that being said, I think the winner of this very spooky episode of Box Office Battles is, drumroll please, Halloweentown. Shocker. Halloweentown started off strong in the plot round. Phantom of the Megaplex came out with a point in the players round, thanks to Mickey Rooney. And Halloweentown emerged as the victor in the final round, thanks to its legendary legacy. It's literally hard to deny the insane impact that Halloweentown had on my generation. It's one of the best Disney Channel original movies, and one of the best Halloween movies in general. Just to reiterate, I do love both movies. I used to watch both of them every single fall season with my siblings, and they both hold such a special place in my heart. Rewatching them both today was a pleasure. It really brought me back to a wonderful time. That's what movies are, man. They're magical adventures. It allows you to feel what it feels like to be human, man. And that's what it's all about. Act in love, compassion, and understanding, and just accept the things around you, man. And everything will work out for you, I promise. And listen, I'm rooting for you. Ladies and gentlemen, non-binary, gender fluid, and everybody else in between, thanks for watching this very spooky episode of Box Office Battles. I greatly appreciate all the support, especially on my restaurant videos, my public transportation videos, my boring day in the lives, everything else, man. It really means a lot to me. If you want to support me more, you can join my Discord. The link is in the description. If you want to follow me on Twitch, you can go to twitch.tv/officialjoeyc. I live stream there all the time. If you want to support the channel, you can go to patreon.com/officialjoeyc. That would mean a lot to me. But if you don't want to, that's fine too. And thank you for subscribing. We're almost at 4,000 subscribers. That's absolutely crazy. But all that being said, folks, thanks for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Keep your eye out for the next video, episode, movie, live stream, whatever it is, man. Listen, cherish the precious moments, be love, and stay dude. I'm out of here. Good Lord. I got a salami and ham and mustard sandwich waiting for me, and I'm going to go eat that. Good Lord. I can't believe that I have a green screen studio in my room or in my apartment, and my neighbors are like, what the fuck is that guy doing up there? Meanwhile, I'm like, oh, Halloweentown. Yeah. Oh, God.